Hey, this is Tommy from Corner, and you're listening to Heavy Demons Radio.
So, dear Tommy, what shall old and potential new fans of Coroner expect from dissonance theory in terms of sound and songwriting?
Yeah, expect fist up your face.
Yeah.
No, songwriting, it's what we felt like. I think it's a heavy record. It's a record with a lot of emotion. It's probably not easy listening. I think people should listen to it a few times to understand everything. I think it's one of these albums you hear more stuff the more you hear it.
Tell us something about the genesis of the songs, the recording in your new sound studios, and the subsequent
Hmm.
mixing and mastering by Jens Bogren. And which
Yes.
difference do you find in comparison of recording music over 30 years ago?
Yeah, this is the first Corona album. I'm like 100% happy with everything because I have my own studio. I could work on it as long as I wanted. And I mean, I really try to, like, technology is different nowadays as well. Obviously, every big studio has Pro Tools, but it depends how you work with it. Like younger bands, maybe more modern bands, they might record like one or two takes and then they edit for hours. And we use Pro Tools more like a tape machine,
Yeah.
like back in the days. We did more takes until everything felt right, and we kept the editing part to a minimum.
Yeah.
And actually, I was supposed to mix the album, but when we finished all the recordings, I couldn't see the forest of the trees, and so I decided it's maybe a good idea that someone else mixes it. And I looked out for a mixer, and I mean there's great mixes out there, but a lot of them they have their own sounds, and everything like all the mixes they do sound a bit similar. Um, and I worked with Jens Bogen before, and he's a very musical mixer. He mixes for the band, for the song, not for himself. He has his own sound, but it's like all his mixes sound different. And I really like that because we recorded everything like pristine and nice, and it didn't use much change for the mix, just do all the nice things, but we produced it to the end actually. Just the recording without the mixing sounds already really nice. But with Jens' work, it came to another level. I'm super happy with it.
Yeah, and which topics did you choose to address in the lyrics of the album? Did the lyrics come after you had the complete songs, or the concept and meaning somehow affected the composition process?
Yeah, that came after songs. Um, yeah, definitely. We wrote the music first, and then uh, we looked for lyrics that fit the emotion of the music. And Christina Lee Everett, she wrote most of the lyrics. She really understood how that works. So the album is called Dissonance Theory, but it's about cognitive dissonance theory. That this is the conflict in your head you get when you have like, a simple example would be you like to eat meat,
Yeah.
but on the other hand, you love the animals and you don't want to harm them. So that's conflict in your brain, and it's not a concept album in the sense of a story from start to end. It's just every song has a bit of this theme in it
Y-
because there is always like two sides to everything. It's not only one truth. You
Yeah,
know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Does
definitely.
that make any sense?
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
Since I'm vegetarian, almost vegan, it makes any sense.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I
Yeah.
do love meat, but I do love animals as
I
well.
see, I see. Yeah. Then you made your decision. That's good, you know. But a lot of people, you know, people are smoking cigarettes. They know it's not good, but they still smoke. So
Yeah.
they try to, only the other ones get cancer, you know. I think it's a very interesting
Concept.
thought, the whole
Yeah.
thing.
While what about the overall artwork concept of the album and the meaning for you personally of the physical form in this digital era?
Hmm. Yeah, I mean these three DNA helixes. Um, they symbolize the bands, you know, the three-piece bands, and there is smaller ones behind us. Everything could symbolize whole mankind, which is falling apart at the bottom. It should show a little bit how fucked up the world is,
Yeah.
especially at the moment.
Which are your best and worst memories of being part of the extreme metal scene way back in the late 80s, early 90s? And which legacy do you think Switzerland left to future metal generations?
I mean, I just have good memories, you know. I always try to leave the bad memories behind, you know. Just
Yeah.
remember the good stuff, unless you can learn something out of the bad ones. But anyway, I mean, I don't know why, but Switzerland, they brought out a few bands who really are like unique, like Celtic Frost, the Young Gods. Um, yeah, maybe Coroner is a bit like that as well. And all those bands influenced other bands, and that's just a great thing.
Which are your favorite musical acts when it comes to non metal music?
Ooh, there is so many, you know. It depends on my mood.
Yeah.
I can, we could talk for hours about that. I like a lot like 70s rock bands, like Emerson, Lake and Palmer. I like Alan Holdsworth. I like Jeff Beck. I love classical music. I love jazz music. Sometimes I really listen to country music as well. You know, it totally depends.
Now there is a set of questions from my friend Luke Bosi, which is an important Italian metal journalist from the golden days of Metal Hammer way back in the late 80s and the 90s.
All right.
And he wanted to know what did we miss musically more than 30 years of no coroner music at all? What do you think you would have delivered if you had not split up back then?
The what if question.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
love so much. Well, what if? I don't know. Who knows? Whatever. Maybe we would have split up 2 years after that, or maybe we would be a jazz fusion band now.
Yeah.
No idea. You know, it's what it is. Everybody did different stuff in that break time. I don't know.
He says, in my 1991 review of Mental Vortex, I called Coroner the Rush of thrash metal, partially because you are a trio like Rush, and partly because simple, easy solution never seemed to be part of Coroner's DNA. Do you still agree with that description? Which are your thoughts on Rush's legacy as a cornerstone of progressive rock? And do you see any compositional links between Coroner's music and Rush music, not in sound, but into the approach of songwriting?
Yeah, it could be. I mean, Ron is a huge Rush fan, and of course, I love him as well. And they're a three-piece. We are a three-piece. They make complex music. We play complex music. Maybe there is the connection. Um, Hard to say. I heard worse compliments.
What you think, like the three-piece lineup is something that can deliver, less confusion and concentrate more on composition instead of having more elements in the band.
Yes, maybe it definitely leaves you more freedom. You know, even during a live show, if I want to change my guitar part a little bit, as long
Yeah.
as it fits with the bass line and the drum rhythm, I'm good. But if I would have another guitar player, it would sound like shit. So, it's maybe the sound is a bit more transparent with just one guitar, but it's also a little bit thinner. I also love like the classic two guitarist metal bands like Judas Priest, they play almost the same thing all the time, and it's a wide sound, and I love it. It's um it's it's a different thing. Van Halen, on the other hand, was with just one guitar player, like the best one, and that's why he made all these improvisational parts between the chords. You can't do that with a second guitar player. It's more freedom, but it's not better nor worse,
Yeah.
just different.
Coroner emerged from the great European thrash scene that flourished from the mid 80s to the early 90s. What was it like to be a part of such an important and revolutionary movement? How do you think Coroner has have evolved over time? Has increased awareness or maturity changed your approach to composing?
No, it was an interesting time. We were young and maybe sometimes a little naive, and the whole thing was like blooming, and so like for the first, especially the first two albums, RIP and Punishment for Decadence, we played very technically. We wanted to show the world that we practiced a lot.
Yeah.
And then, at the time when we recorded RIP, we never played a show before. So after that, we learned a little bit what works live better than other things. If you play fast all the time, it just gets boring and it's too much for your ears. So we found out that like groovy parts or simple parts combined with the technical elements work much better for us. And that was an evolution of for all the time. And like first two albums, I was very influenced by the neoclassical scene, like all these guitar players like E.Vil, and yeah, there were so many. And later I listened more to like jazz players like Alan Holdsworth or yeah, and they changed the music a bit. And I also started like when we wrote No More Color, I started to discover like Emerson, Lake and Palmer and bands like that. So it was just a natural evolution, I would say. We never wrote for a crowd anyway. We just we did those albums for us.
Luke says, I've always thought that the band's limited commercial success played a role in Coroner's breakup. At the time, musical tastes were shifting toward bands like Nirvana, Pearl Jam, who had little to do with metal. Yet, after you split, there seemed to be a growing and ever growing demand for your return. Do you see that as a contradiction? How would you explain it?
I mean, we didn't split up because of that. Maybe, I mean, if we would have sold records like Metallica, of course, we would have continued the thing. But yeah, it was just time to try something else. Like after 10 years of playing together, like the first band, you go out. You Most people don't marry the first girl
Yeah,
they
me.
meet, or they have something with her. So you want to try a little bit before you decide. So I wanted to work with a singer who actually can play melodies, but then I ended up in creator. So that's life.
This is still from Luke. He says in 1997, I was in Dortmund at Century Media's offices preparing a studio report. That night, Mark Grew from Morgoth took us to what turned out to be Coroner's last announced concert. It was opening for Sodom. At the time you left the stage, it felt like you might come back, but not after so many years. Do you have a particular emotional memory from that last gig you like to share?
No,
It
I'm
was
not sure if this was the last gig. We played a lot of last gigs. We
okay.
played last gig tour in France, and maybe it was the last. It could be maybe, yeah, somewhere in Germany. It's possible, but yeah, it was time to split up to experience new stuff, and I think just a few days after the last show, like the manager of Creator called me and asked me if I want to join Creator, you know. So rest is history.
Which final like message and greeting would you send to your Italian fans who saw you in Cremona a few months ago? I was there as well.
Ah,
Amazing gig.
okay. Yeah, we love to play in Italy. It's always, it's an exciting crowd, and of course we come there because of the food as well, and red wine and stuff. And hey, it would be great if you guys would listen to our new album. We put all our heart bloods into it, and maybe give it some time. I think it's music that has to grow with you with every listening, and yeah. If you can buy it, would be great. And don't be an asshole. Be nice to people. That's my advice.
And of course, we won't have to wait another 30 years for the next one.
Yeah, probably not. I mean, we're in the age where it's a bit dangerous to wait too long for things.
okay.
So I don't know if there will be another album. Maybe this, like the first two singles, they're received very well. We're overwhelmed by the resonance for the two first singles, and if everything works and we're still into it and we still have fun, we might write another one in the next 2 3 years. It's possible.